did. Draymond and Steph looked fine. Bogues, hopefully we'll practice tomorrow, but we didn't get out today, and we'll just kind of see it. It's just day-to-day.
You don't anticipate series, or you're not really?
Not really sure. Obviously, we're hoping that we'll be all right with these next few days to treat it. But
was there an MRI?
It's kind of like between the groin and hamstring. It's a strain.
How do they check that and evaluate it? MRI or?
No MRI. Not that I know of. If one is planned, then we'll let you know. But as of now, I don't think there's been any imaging or anything. Just day-to-day.
Were you surprised with the way the OKC Spurs?
A little bit. You know, I thought both teams obviously were fantastic. I'm surprised the Spurs didn't score as much as they normally do. They're a great ball movement team, but OKC's defense was really, really good. But everybody in the league knows as talented as OKC is, when they really click, they're really, really good.
Steve, Portland scores in certain games. I know they're volatile, but so are the Thunder. You have to play better defense against them than you play them. And if they're going in an okay direction, can you be somewhat specific?
It's a different type of series. We're facing different challenges, but we're absolutely going to have to play better defense. I think we're just going to have to play better overall, and I feel like we will. Obviously, we missed Steph for the first 3 games in that series, and then we were incorporating him back in. So we should be whole, assuming we get Andrew back. But different challenge. This is a much bigger team. Rebounding will be key. Got to get the loose balls and keep them at bay on the glass. And if you turn it over against these guys, it's a dunk for somebody who's so athletic in transition. So we know what the challenges are, and we're going to have to be better for sure.
Steve, why do you think you guys need Westbrook? Just your answer.
I don't think there's anything that we did that was that special. I think for whatever reason this year, in 3 games, which was a very small sample size, he didn't shoot it that well against us. But that doesn't mean anything going into game 1. He's obviously one of the good players in the league. He's so explosive. So who knows if we can keep him from hitting shots, because sometimes it's just about him. It's not about the defense.
During the season, was it on Westbrook? If I remember.
We usually started Steph on him, and then Steph and Clay would switch off on him, and you'll probably see both guys on all times.
Steve, since Steph was out, you talked some about integrating him back in and figuring out how smoothly that would go. I mean, has it been pretty seamless the last 2 games? And
it went really well, obviously. I mean, he was much better than we could have ever hoped or expected, given the length of time that he was out. And he was phenomenal in both games, showing why he was the MVP. And now it's great to get him a few days of practice, a few more days to treat the injury, and hopefully we can put this injury behind him by the time we start this series.
They've been going with Canner and Adams. See that at all in your games?
5 minutes, I think, out of the 3 games.
Was it a little tricky for you, or?
Well, it was only 5 minutes. It was the first game that we played them. I think it was early February. They played them in the second quarter for a few minutes together. Obviously, they've changed since our matchups. The first matchup or 2, they didn't start Robertson, so they started him in the last game that we played them. And now they're playing him, they're starting him, and they're playing Cantor and Adams together more. So slightly different rotations. They're obviously in a good groove. They're going to come in here with great confidence, having knocked off the Spurs. So we got to be ready.
Steph and Westbrook obviously are very. Do you see a similarity in the fact that do you believe they can kind of do things that just almost make your eyes bug out?
Yeah, but very different from each other. but they both have the ability to dominate games. And, they have abilities that are exclusive to themselves. Nobody can simulate Russell Westbrook, and I don't think anybody can simulate Steph. I think Damian Lillard probably is the closest player we'll see to kind of simulating what Steph does on the floor and how he changes defense, but nobody can simulate Russell.
What is a defensive key against someone with that kind of explosiveness? What would you limit?
Well, you have to try to limit the easy ones. So if you turn it over and he gets 3 or 4 dunks in transition, those are killer. Keep him off the glass. He's one of the best offensive rebounding point guards in the league. If you can cut off penetration, you try to do that. But easier said than done.
Calling Steph for the first time the other day. Do you remember watching Westbrook in that
same game? Sure. Yeah.
You remember them going head to head? What that was like watching?
Westbrook's college career was really interesting. He didn't play point guard. He was playing with Flalo and Allison and other NBA players. And, so I don't think Westbrook really jumped out at that stage when we played against Davidson in Anaheim. I can't remember if that was his freshman or sophomore year. But Westbrook he didn't really explode until he got to the NBA. But in college, he was so athletic that he was sort of lost among a lot of good players. But once he got to the league, when he was able to really showcase what he can do.
Before the second round, especially when they tip it out to the outside. So when Western Conference Finals, is there any specific details you can pay attention to when it comes to the rebound?
Well, everybody has to participate. That's the main thing. We showed a lot of clips during the Portland series of players where the guards were leaking out. They were out at half court, and the ball would be tipped to the foul line, and we weren't there. You have to have all 5 guys engaged and involved on the glass. And so if you're not getting a body on somebody, you better be in a position to chase the ball down. And that'll be even more important against Oklahoma City because they're probably the best rebounding team in the league.
This head coach, it's Billy Donovan's first with the Thunder. How much better of a coach do you think you are this year compared to last year?
I'm not quite sure how to answer that. I do think the more experience you get, the more things you see, the better you get. So I would say I've probably learned a few things since last year, but I don't know if I can answer, give myself a grade or anything.
Steve, Klay Thompson's later after you won, and I was thinking that not as players, but as personalities on the court and off, he and Draymond Green are almost, to me, as I perceive, exact opposites. Do you see it that way, and could you maybe elucidate that a little bit?
They are total opposites. Draymond is always talking, and Klay rarely speaks. Klay is he just wants to go about his business. Does everything sort of below the radar. The one area where they're really similar is they're both great two-way players. They both play both ends of the floor. They're, I think, near the top of the league when you're talking about the best two-way players. They're right there at the very top of anybody. So it's kind of fun as a coach to have such different personalities, different talents. The main thing you want is guys who are competitive, and who can play both ends.
When Klay makes a dramatic shot, he doesn't celebrate, as far as I can tell. If he walks down the court, business as usual. Is that what he? Obviously, you're not inside that, but you may have talked to him about it. Is that what he's feeling, or is he jubilant inside, or just business as usual?
No, I think he's jubilant inside. And every once in a while, you see Klay when he gets really hot, and he makes 5 in a row or something. He'll gesture to the crowd to stand up, something like that. But I think Klay he loves to play. He loves the game, and I think he has a lot of fun while he's playing. He just doesn't show it that often.
Finally, is he quiet around the team?
Yes, very quiet. He's actually opened up, I think, more. When I took the job, everybody told me he hardly ever said anything. He's got a really dry sense of humor. He kind of picks his spots to use it, to show it. But when he does, the whole team seems to be laughing. But he hides a lot of things, I think. He's a great person, great player, and fun to be around.
Steve, I'm sorry if you were asked this earlier, but is OKC about the scariest team to play, just given how explosive Durant and Westbrook are?
Yeah, because you can do everything perfectly and they can still score. And if they have both those guys scoring like they were last night, it's especially tough. So you just have to stay with it. You've got to do everything you can on every possession. Stick with the game plan. You know, don't make a lot of mistakes during 48 minutes, and understand that they're going to make some great plays, and you got to just keep going.
Kind of to add,
Go ahead.
not many people expected OKC to be in the Western Conference Finals against you guys. I think a lot of people picked the Spurs. How dangerous is it for a team that maybe has nothing to lose to face them in the Western Conference?
Well, they're coming in with a ton of confidence, but I would argue that they have plenty to lose. Just like we do. You know, we both desperately want to get to the finals. We were both considered contenders to win a title. I thought Portland had nothing to lose, you know, just because they really weren't supposed to get this far and to play this well. But I think OKC is just like us. They're a perennial favorite. They're playing very well. You know, we're in the Final Four. You know, the whole thing is. You want to get to the finals, give yourself a chance. It's a great matchup, and they're a hell of a team, and we're trying to defend our title, and it should be a lot of fun.
So you've obviously seen OKC over the years as a broadcaster before you became a coach, and they've had Durant and Westbrook for a long time, but how have they sort of evolved elsewhere on the roster? How are they different now?
I think Steven Adams has really taken another step. You know, he's become one of the best centers in the league. He's playing more. You know, he used to play half the game. Now he's playing 3/4 of the game, and they've figured some things out over the course of the year, different combinations that they like. They experimented with a lot of things. Obviously, it's Billy's first year, so he had to get to know his team. And so in the 3 games that we played them, we saw a lot of different combinations with people like Singler and Morrow and Waiters, and they seem to have settled into a nice groove now, and obviously they're playing at a really high level.
Quietly celebrate not having to scare the first round.
Say that again?
Quietly celebrate not having to face them in the first round.
Last year? You know, to be honest, I felt bad for them because they had so many injuries, and they especially Durant. It was such a frustrating season for them. Obviously, they're one of the best teams in the league, and you know, they're going to be tough no matter where and when you play. But nobody likes to see injuries, and then you just play whoever's there. You don't worry about anything else.
Have you talked with Popovich at all since last night?
Not since last night. You know, we talk a lot during the season, and I'm not going to call him until he wants to call me, and he can drown his sorrows first. And I still, it's a very strange thing for me to watch the Spurs even to this day, even though it's been 13 years since I retired. But with 3 of those guys being teammates in my last year and Pop, it's always strange. They're so good and they're so tough to beat, but I can't cheer against them either unless we're playing against them. So it was strange seeing them lose, and you know, they had such a phenomenal regular season, and I think everybody's sort of expected them to be there. But Oklahoma City they are who they are. They are loaded and they're tough, and they're playing really good.
Did you do anything to keep Draymond fouls without taking away from what makes him Draymond?
Well, I had a talk with him the morning of Game 5 after shooting. I explained the situation. You have 3 technicals, and you get 7. You've got 3 to play with. He said, "I got you, coach." So now he's got 2 to play. So I think he's timing it. He just wants to go right up to the edge, and then he's going to stop.
Is there any irony at all? We talked about small ball and all year, and it seems like the Western Conference Finals is now a game of rebounding and big guys having to play those matchups. Any irony?
I think the small ball stuff is overplayed. Really. If you look at our team, we're not small. We're not a small team. We start Bogut, we play Ozili, Draymond. If you want to say he's small because he's 6'6", fine, but he doesn't play small. Our backcourt, it's often 2 6'7" guys, and when we go to our small lineup, which is Draymond at the center, we might do that. We might do it 8-10 minutes a game. So 38-40 minutes, we're playing with a very large team. So everybody gets fixated on small ball and all that. We don't really play that small. We shoot a lot of jump shots, but we have a pretty big team, top to bottom. So I think people just get fixated on it too much. The reality is you need size in this age, just like you needed it 20 years ago. You have to be able to protect the rim, challenge shots, hit loose balls, and the more long-limbed guys you can have, the better.
Are there emotions that? Are there any emotions that came with seeing the Spurs lose? This could be.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what Tim's going to do? I have no idea. If it is his last game, I was really happy to see him play so well. I mean, he had a tough series, and then he really looked like himself again last night. And, so we'll see what he decides to do. But he'll always be a good friend and somebody incredibly respected.
Coach, obviously KD got injured last season, and then from the team playoff to right now, they even went to the West Conference Finals. Which part they improved the most?
Where did they improve the most?
Yes.
I mean, I just think the biggest thing was the health. You do have to get lucky in this game, and their health improved, and then they made some changes with the coaching staff, obviously. But I think their front line has evolved. Adams and Cantor have evolved together, and they're better.